Hey, welcome out to the Explore and More show. My name is Ken Conan. I'm here with the expert, Mr. Ted Blank of Ted Blank Luxury Travel and Adventures. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Good to be here again.
Thanks for joining me today. I know we've got a little bit of a new setup here in the studio, and
Yeah, got to try new things, right?
that's right,
Yeah.
yeah. And we are at your headquarters here on Locust
The
Street.
headquarters, yes, we are. We're in downtown Hudson, Wisconsin. Beautiful downtown Hudson, Wisconsin. So folks are listening from the area. We're at 206 Locust Street in downtown Hudson. If you're from outside the area, Hudson is like that perfect hallmark Christmas town at this time of the year. And it snowed this morning, so it's really pretty. A little slippery, but really pretty.
I know it's I was out coming over here and it's beautiful out.
It is.
There's
Snow
something
is
about
beautiful.
the snow on the
Yeah.
trees this time of year.
At
It's
this
like
time of the year, yeah. Come January, maybe not,
right.
but
Well, we're putting together a series. This is part 3 of that Alaska series, and I'd love to dive into a little bit more about the Alaska adventure, if you will. I know we've talked a little bit about some of the cruise ships and the excursions and locations that you would stop on a north or south adventure. What's next? Is there another component we should be thinking about?
yeah, there is something that's really important to think about. And before we talk about that, we'll remind folks that we do have an Alaska planning guide that you can download, and I think you've popped that link in the comments below,
I
so
have.
folks can
Yep.
download that and kind of follow along a little bit with us. But yeah, we're going to talk now about cruise tours, and specifically the cruise tours that go to Denali National Park. And so if you look at a map of Alaska, you have that panhandle area of Alaska, that southeast Alaska, the Inside Passage area.
Okay. Yep.
And some cruises only visit that area. But other cruises will travel one way north or south. They'll start or end in Vancouver, and they'll start or end in one of the ports for Anchorage, Seward or Whittier.
Okay.
And if you take that one way cruise, northbound or southbound, you have the opportunity to take a cruise tour before or after your cruise.
Okay. Great.
And as the name kind of implies, a cruise tour is a land tour. So it's going to be a combination of a motor coach and a train tour, actually, that will take you from Anchorage or Fairbanks,
Yeah.
depending on where you start, to Denali National Park.
Wow.
And if you have a little more time, you can go a little bit further afield. But the main attraction is to see Denali National Park and to see Mount Denali, which used to be known as Mount McKinley,
Yeah.
which I believe is the tallest mountain in North America.
Wow. So I remembered as McKinley forever. I know you're
Yeah,
really good
the
with
native
history.
name is Denali,
Okay.
and the park has always been known as Denali National Park.
Okay.
And they kind of changed the name, I don't know, about 15, 20 years ago. So people kind of refer to it in both names, but Mount Denali is the current name for the mountain.
Nice, nice. And tell us about how you traverse from Anchorage out to Denali. I've seen some of the trains, but we didn't jump on one when we were there or one time we've been there.
Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're taking that 7-day cruise, and that's typically the length of the cruise from Vancouver to Anchorage or Anchorage to Vancouver. And now we're going to make it into a 10 to 14 or even a 16-day
Wow.
vacation. And you kind of have two vacations going on. You've got that cruise, and then you have the land component to it. So the most standard way to do it is to fly into Anchorage. If you're
Okay.
going to go southbound, or we'll talk about it southbound, but you can go in either direction and you'll see
Okay.
exactly the same things. And so you'll fly into Anchorage, spend the night, you'll meet the tour at the airport, you'll be transferred to your hotel, and you'll spend a night in Anchorage because the next morning, bright and early, you're going to head up to Denali National Park.
Nice, nice.
And all the tours, they have different sort of orders that things go on. So you might head up to Denali by motor coach along the Parks Highway, called very, very scenic motor coach ride. Probably 6 hours or so to the city of Talkeetna.
Okay.
And Talkeetna is on the southern edge of Denali National Park.
Okay.
Now, to give you the scale of the park is actually bigger than the state of Rhode Island. So it is a gigantic
Wow.
national park.
Wow.
It has one road into it that we'll talk a little bit about in a minute.
Wow.
But part of what makes it interesting is, you have that mountain, you have opportunities to see wildlife, but you have a giant ecosystem that's essentially been untouched by human hands. And so one road, everything else is pretty much wild. And so, you see things that you wouldn't see in a slightly more populated area.
That's amazing. So help me kind of visualize this. We come up via train. It's 5, 6
Train or a
hours.
motor coach,
Or motor
it'll
coach.
depend. Some go in one direction, some go in the other direction. But yeah, train or motor coach, they run pretty close to each other.
Nice. And so once we get to the park, is it, hey, it's a free, I'm sure it's not a free for all, right?
No.
What are your options for kind of exploring the park? What are kind of on your highlight list?
Yeah, so the southern side of the park, most of the tours will spend a day or two there. You'll stay at one of the hotels in Talkeetna,
Okay.
and you'll have an opportunity to explore the town. It's tiny. You
Okay.
can walk the entire main street in about 10 minutes. It happens to be where they filmed the TV series Northern Exposure,
Oh yeah.
which I remember when I was growing up.
For
So
sure.
people might remember. They're a really good show, actually.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do there. You can go jet boating, you can go hiking, you can go flight seeing and actually fly into the park and land on the glacier.
Oh
And
my.
so with
Wow.
most of the cruise tours, those are going to be treated like shore excursions. So those are things you'll purchase separately from the tour.
Okay.
The tour will get
Got
you
it.
there, take care of your lodging. Some of them include meals with the tour, some of them include a tour guide. Others are what I would call kind of a hosted tour, meaning you sort of get a packet of information that says, here's the time you need to be here, here's the time you need to be here.
Okay.
And you have a lot of free time in between to fill with excursions or doing things independently.
Nice.
And some of the hotels in Talkeetna are really quite beautiful. The Princess Cruises Lodge there has an incredible view of the mountain. And there's a show on the Discovery Channel called Treehouse Builders.
Oh, I've seen it.
And that's
Yes.
really kind of a fun little show where they build
Really
tree
cool.
houses. Well, they
Yeah.
built one at the Denali Princess Lodge overlooking the park.
Oh my.
So on a clear day, you can have a just incredibly breathtaking view of Mount Denali.
Wow.
Yep. So then you're going to go to the other side of the mountain to the town of Denali, which is the main entrance to the park.
Okay.
Some tours will take you there by train. That's one of the most scenic stretches of the train ride. Others will take you there by motor coach. And normally you'll spend at least 2 nights there. You might spend longer.
Okay.
And one of those days, you will have the opportunity to go into the park on a guided tour. And most of the access to the park is through group tours.
Okay.
Private vehicles are not permitted into Denali National Park. So some
Got it.
people are like,
Okay.
well, I'm going to rent a car and I'm going to drive up there. Can't get into the
That's
park.
not going to happen, right?
Yeah, so you'll travel on one of these guided tours. There are sort of shorter versions and longer versions. And as you go, you'll have the opportunity to sightsee, see the sights from the bus.
Yeah.
The bus will stop. You'll have a chance to get off, go for a hike, walk around, see wildlife. I had somebody last year sent me a video that they took of a bear chasing a caribou,
Oh my
or
gosh.
I guess a moose through the park. I think the moose was going to win. The bear was kind of a little bit slow, but right by the bus, and there it went. So you can get some really up close
Wow.
wildlife sightings,
Yeah.
the doll sheep. And then you'll also have enough time to do some things independently. So if you want to do whitewater rafting, if you want to hop on a plane and fly up and land on the glaciers, amazing once in a lifetime experience.
Crazy.
You can do that in Denali National Park. And if you have more time, you can actually go back to the park, and there is a park shuttle bus system. So you can take those shuttle buses. There's like sort of city buses. They take you from point to point, and you can get off, go for a hike for a couple hours, come back and catch the next bus back. So they have a nice little public transportation system there as well. But really, it's that guided tour that's the highlight of Denali for most people.
That's amazing.
And then if you're heading out on a cruise ship, then some of the tours will take you. You'll get on a train right by your hotel in Denali, and it will take you all the way back through Anchorage
All right.
to the pier. And you literally get off the pier, walk across the pier, and there's your ship.
Wow.
And you hop right on. And all the cruise tours handle, they take care of your luggage and moving things around. And the logistics of these are quite incredible because there are a lot of people who go to Alaska each summer. So each tour is slightly different. Some actually will start or end in Fairbanks. So you could go a little bit further north and spend some time up there. There's some cool things in Fairbanks. There's a riverboat that sails on the river there.
Really?
There's actually very interesting automobile museum in Fairbanks of all
Really?
places. And the one thing that just blows me away about Fairbanks is how beautiful their annual flowers are.
Really?
Short growing season,
Right.
24 hours of daylight, big flowers.
Oh, I didn't even think about the daylight component. Huge.
Yeah, they grow huge like squash and stuff like that. Their vegetables are just
Gosh.
massive.
Super
If you have
cool.
a little more time, there are also cruise tours that will head out into the Yukon territory. So you'll head out into Canada. You'll cross the border into Canada, and
Interesting.
you're in a whole different world
Yeah.
there. It's kind of almost like an old Wild West sort of a feel to it in
Really?
Whitehorse and Dawson City. And there are also combinations of tours where you can go to other parks
Okay.
as well. So you might want to go see a couple other national parks in Alaska, and there are some that will enable you to do that. But
Wow.
most people, the most popular is that 10-day trip, which includes Denali and the cruise. But then there are 10, 12, 14, 16, and beyond. And so it just kind of depends a little bit on the time you
Yeah.
have and your interest. Because, some people, they really want to see Denali. They've seen it, they're done, they're ready to go down and
Right.
take the cruise. Other people want to explore more. There are people who are national park collectors. And so there's
I
some
love
great
it. Yeah.
options to hit a couple national parks that are really off the beaten path.
How fun.
Alaska's pretty remote part of the world,
For
but
sure.
some of these you're going to be the only group of people there.
Is
You
that
are
right?
really off the beaten path. So there are
Wow.
some really, really neat experiences. There are some places you can actually fly in and see bears in kind of a native bear environment.
Wow.
Just a ton of different options to explore the mainland of Alaska, the rail belt, they call it,
Okay.
before or after your cruise. And that's really what a cruise tour is. Now, the important thing to know is that not every single cruise has a cruise tour associated with it.
Oh, okay.
And so as travel advisors, we get a grid of these. And you could probably wallpaper your house with these grids. They're incredibly complex. And so part of what our role is to help you understand, what are the different options? What do you most want to see? And
Yeah.
help guide you to choose the right cruise tour for you. And for some people, maybe a cruise is enough. Maybe 7 to 10 days. Just sailing around the Inside Passage is enough, and that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
Some great options for that. Maybe folks want to do a real in-depth expedition type cruise where, instead of stopping at a port, they're going to pull up to the bank, drop the gangplank, and you're going to get off and go for a hike or go kayaking. So
Wow.
lots of different options, but not everything mixes and matches
Yeah.
together. And so we can help kind of guide folks to that right option for them.
Well, I know we've said it before. I'll say it again. That's one of the true value adds of your firm. You guys have been there. You've seen a lot of cool stuff. Everybody here has been to
Yeah,
Alaska.
that's actually kind of one of our job requirements is within the first year you've
That's
got
a
to
fun
get to
one.
you got to get to Alaska if you hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
And it is really important because you can speak to what the experience is like,
Agree.
and understand the different types of experiences because some people want, a really luxury experience. They want to be really, really well taken care of. Other people are more happy doing things independently and
Yeah.
they just kind of want to have the transportation and a few things taken care of. And we can help connect them to the right option for them.
I love that. Love that. What, as always, remind us the best ways to get in touch with you and your team.
Yeah, so definitely encourage you to pop down into the comments and download the Alaska guide we have because
For
it kind
sure.
of explains some of these things and it's got pictures and illustrations to help you start to sort of visualize a little bit. And then you can visit our website. It's tedblanktravel.com. You can request a consultation there with any one of us, or you can give us a call at 651-964-8245. Or if you happen to be in the greater Hudson, Wisconsin area, we're at 206 Locust Street. Just give us a call and stop on down.
I love it. And just if you're in town, you probably want to go to Kanoki's. You're
We're
just
just like
down the
three
street, down
doors
the
down
hill.
there from there. Yeah. So bring your chocolate appetite and stop there afterwards.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you as always, Ted. You are our expert. I am the rookie with the Explore and More show. I like the new setup. We'll see how this
That's how it goes.
how it goes. Yeah. Again, it's Ted Blank Luxury Travel and Adventures. Check them out online or in person. Thanks again for tuning in today.